Hi everyone, it's Stephanie from the Blend team. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create custom blending boards using the Blend app. With Blend, you have the power to create multiple custom decks that allow you to differentiate your instruction and focus on systematically introducing phonics concepts to your students. This feature is a game changer for individual tutoring, where you can create decks for each of your students at different levels and keep everything organized in one place, or even for whole class instruction, so you can add onto your blending board as you progress throughout the year. I'm going to show you two different ways to customize your decks in this video, so let's get started. First, let's talk about which devices we recommend for using Blend. Blend works on all browsers on desktop, laptop, tablet, and smartboards, but we don't recommend using it with mobile devices or tablets in portrait mode. Awesome, let's get started. First, I'll show you how to access the deck creation feature. For this, you'll want to make sure that you're logged into your Blend account so you can save your custom decks. This is my Blend Basic account, which is our free plan that allows you to create one custom deck, which you can see that I've already created here. This might work great if you're teaching only in the classroom and you can have one deck for all of your students. You can see that I can go ahead and still add on to it and keep modifying it throughout the year to use. But if we want to create more decks, we do need to upgrade. I'm going to be creating a few decks in this video, so let's move over to my Blend Pro account. Okay, great. So we're on my Blend Pro account and you can see that I have a bunch of custom decks already, but let's go through the process of creating one. You can create a new deck by clicking on this new button at the top right, which brings up the deck creation dialog. There are two different ways to create a custom deck. You can either create a completely blank deck if you want to type in all of your graphemes, or you can copy from an existing deck by choosing one that's already in your library, including the two preloaded decks that come with every account up here. I found that the quickest way to get a new deck going is by copying from another deck, so I'm going to select the separated blends deck to copy from and click Continue. This will bring you into the Edit Deck screen with multi-edit mode automatically on, which you can see from the message at the top. And from here, we can just go ahead and select any of the graphemes that we want to remove from this deck and pare it down a little. To do so, you can start clicking on grapheme tiles and you'll see that they're highlighted when selected, and you can deselect them by clicking on the tile again. And then with your selection, you can click on the delete area at the top left. So let's say my student doesn't know some of these digraphs down here, so I'll select the ones he doesn't know and we can go ahead and delete them. Okay, let's see what else. He also hasn't worked on any of these vowel teams except for AI, and we haven't done R-controlled vowels or diphthongs yet, so let's get rid of all of those. You can see that I'm quickly selecting all of the tiles in a section by clicking on the checkbox next to it, and I can deselect the ones that I want to keep as well. All right, I'll just continue on getting rid of the tiles that I don't want in here. Cool, I think I got everything. So now I can exit multi-edit mode by clicking on the toggle at the top right so I can finish up with the rest of my deck. I'm going to change the name of this deck and I'll just call it Johnny after my student who will be using this in his blending drills. Great, it looks good to go. So I'm going to save it now by clicking on the green check mark in the toolbar. Great, you can see back on the home screen that we have our newly created deck here, and we can go ahead and see what it looks like in action. Now Johnny has a blending board that's made just for him with only the graphemes he's learned, and we can build on it as we progress. Copying from another deck is a great way to get started, especially with our two preloaded decks that you can build on. But you might want to create a deck completely from scratch if you want to use custom graphemes or structure your blending board a little differently. So let's take a look at how to create a blank deck. To create a blank deck, click on the New button at the top right of the home screen to bring up the deck creation dialog again. Make sure Create Blank Deck is selected and click Continue. This will take you into the Edit Deck screen with a blank slate. First, I'm going to give my deck a new name, and we'll call it Johnny's deck so we can compare it to the previous section and create the same deck for my student, Johnny. The first thing you'll do is add columns to your deck that represent the separate cards in the drill that make up the structure of the word. You can click on the big plus icon to add new columns, and you'll see that with Blend, you can add up to 6 columns, which is great for practicing longer and even multisyllabic words, which is really unique to our app. Okay, I don't need all 6 columns right away, so I'm going to get rid of the rest of these by clicking on the trash icon at the top right of the column, and we'll start with just one. To add a grapheme in the column, click on the plus icon in the first section, and you'll see a blank tile is added and the cursor is blinking, meaning you can start typing in that tile. Now just type in the grapheme that you want. You can type up to 5 characters on a tile, and then click the plus button again to add your next tile. A great tip is that you can actually just hit the Enter key on your keyboard to create a new tile in the same section, which really speeds up the process. So make sure to try that out, and that's what I'm doing here as I create new tiles. You can see here that I made a mistake and accidentally added 2 G's to this tile, but I can easily fix it by clicking on it again to edit the grapheme, and I'll just erase that extra G. All right, I'm going to finish adding all of the initial consonants that I want in this column. Okay, great. I have all of my consonants, but I do want to add some digraphs as well that we've learned. I definitely like to keep the concepts separated so my board is more organized. So I'm going to add a new section within this column by clicking on the plus icon here. Now I have another group where I can add my digraphs, and this won't affect how the board is structured. It's just for keeping things organized. And to add on to the organization, I love to color code everything, so I'm going to add some colors by dragging from the color palette on the left side here. When I drop the color, you'll see that all of the tiles in that same section are painted the same color, which is awesome. So I'll do purple for the consonants and maybe this lime green for the digraphs. Nice, we have our first full column of graphemes. Now I'm going to add the next column, which will be for my consonant blends because I like to keep them separated. And I'll speed up this part so you don't have to watch me create each tile, but I'm just repeating the process of creating sections of tiles and color coding them the way that I want. Okay, in this last column, I'll show you how you can sort of rearrange tiles while editing. So I'm adding my magic E and S suffixes, but I'm not sure about this magic E here, so I might want to delete it by dragging it to the delete area in the top left. Another tip that I didn't show here is that you can also delete a tile by just erasing its contents and hitting enter, and any completely empty tiles will be deleted. Okay, I am going to add the magic E back in this section, but I do want it at the top so I can reorder the tiles just by dragging them. You can always enter multi-edit mode with this toggle if you want to delete a lot of tiles at once, and you can exit this mode by clicking on the same toggle again. And lastly, you can rearrange the columns if needed by using the arrows at the top of each column. Awesome, I am happy with the way this looks, so I'm going to save my new deck by clicking the green button in the top toolbar. And now we can see our new custom deck on the home screen and take a quick look at it here, and it looks great. I'm going to show you one last example of creating a blank deck to show you that you can really create whatever grapheme tiles you want to use. This was an idea that came from one of our users, and I thought it was so fun. She thought of creating a deck to teach and practice numerical prefixes. So I've gone ahead and created a blank deck just as we did before. I gave it a name, and now I'm going to add all of my prefixes in this section. It's great that I can add up to 5 characters so I can get in those really long prefixes like quart and multi. You can see that I even decided to organize them into 2 sections for the 1 through 10 prefixes at the top and then some other common prefixes in the second group. And then I'm color coding because it just makes everything more fun. I'm going to save this fun new deck and we can try it out. That was such a fun idea and a great demonstration that you can create whatever graphemes you want using Blend. That's going to be it for this video. I hope you got a good idea of how easy it is to create custom blending boards using Blend and how fun it can be to come up with new grapheme cards and new ways to use this feature. Please let us know in the comments what other tutorials you'd like to see and make sure to subscribe to the Blend channel so you don't miss new videos. Thanks for watching!